Ladies and gentlemen, week 9 of the NFL season. Week 9 of the NFL season is officially coming to a close, and that means we are at the halfway point of the season. So with that, I want to take this opportunity to do my mid-season awards, MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, all that good stuff. We're going to rip through that today real quick. So without further ado, let's do it. Okay, so let's start off with some MVP talk. So as of right now, I think that Lamar Jackson is very deserving of the MVP award. Now, if you wanted to argue Josh Allen, I would certainly hear you out there, but I do think that Lamar Jackson is very clearly just slightly ahead in the MVP race as of right now. Yes, I do think Josh has to shoulder a bit more of a load. There isn't quite as much talent on that Bills offense, whereas obviously Lamar has Derrick Henry in the backfield. He probably has a better receiving core, especially now that the Ravens picked up Deontay Johnson. But yeah, I mean, Lamar is just playing some incredible football. He's on pace for about 900 rushing yards, 4,500 passing yards, and 40 passing touchdowns. So Lamar leads in most major statistical categories over Josh, and Josh had a couple of really bad games. The Bills' 2 losses this season against the Texans and the Ravens. So with all that being said, I think that Lamar is pretty clear-cut the winner of the MVP at the halfway point of the season. All right, moving on to Offensive Player of the Year. So I also think this one is pretty clearly Derrick Henry. Again, if you want to argue Saquon Barkley, I would hear you out, although personally I feel like it's Derrick Henry. I mean, this dude is just having a hell of a season. We're halfway through the year, and he is already over 1,000 yards rushing, 1,052 to be exact. He's got 11 touchdowns on the ground with an additional 2 through the air. I mean, he is just having an unbelievable season, and obviously having the dynamic threat of Lamar Jackson in the backfield next to you certainly opens up some more opportunity for Derrick Henry, but I mean, he really has been putting the team on his back. This offense is just so scary with Derrick and Lamar in the backfield. And Saquon's having a good season, too. He's got a little bit over 900 yards in only 8 games played, and he's averaging a bit more through the air, and he has 8 total touchdowns on the year. So, yeah, he's also having a great season, but Derrick Henry has just been on another level, but he might go for over 2,000. We'll see. All right, and moving on to Defensive Player of the Year, I think it's about time that we gave TJ Watt his flowers, man. I mean, no, he's not racking up the sack total, but sacks are not everything. I mean, this dude has been pressuring like crazy. He has forced so many turnovers. He has been an absolute monster and a menace in the backfield. He's been incredibly difficult to stop, and he's just been putting the Steelers defense on his back. So yeah, let's give it to TJ, and there really isn't many other people I would legitimately consider for this award either. Okay, moving on to Offensive Rookie of the Year. So I think this one is very clearly Jaden Daniels. I mean, this dude comes out and has a historic rookie season, even more so than CJ Stroud just last year. Watching Jaden Daniels has truly been a treat and extremely enjoyable. He is very efficient and a good scrambler, smart with the football, just a very fun player to watch as a whole. So I think that without a question, Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Jaden Daniels. All right, and then Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to give it to Jared Verse, as much as that pains me to say, just because, Vikings took Dallas Turner. He hasn't really done a whole lot yet this season, but Jared Verse has been very impressive. I hadn't watched a whole lot of him until the Vikings-Rams game, and I mean, he was getting a lot of pressure on us. He was back there disrupting the backfield, messing with Sam Darnold. So, yeah, no, I mean, what I've seen from Jared has been very impressive, and I think that he's made more of an impact than any of these other guys on this list at this point. So, as of right now, I'm giving Defensive Rookie of the Year to Mr. Verse. All right, and then moving on to Coach of the Year. So, I think a lot of people would pick Dan Quinn. I think he's probably the favorite, but I'm going to let my bias show through here just a little bit. I think I would go Kevin O'Connell. And now I say that because in very similar fashion to the Commanders, the Vikings had absolutely no expectations this season. Their win total was at 6.5 wins prior to the season. Kevin O'Connell comes out there with a completely written off quarterback in Sam Darnold and leads them to a 5-0 start, and somehow he made this offense led by Sam Darnold into a very functional and a very high-powered offense. And obviously our defense has been an absolute unit for the most part as well. A lot of that credit goes to Brian Flores, but the reason I tend to lean KOC over Dan Quinn is because Dan Quinn's a defensive head coach, Obviously, the Commanders' offense is the very special part of that team, which is more in credit to Cliff Kingsbury. But I will say, I think people need to start giving Dan Quinn a bit more flowers for his transformation of this defense, because this defense was a bottom 3, bottom 2 unit last year. And I still see people acting like they are. They're not. Watch them play football. Look at the stats. This Commanders unit is not a bottom of the pack unit anymore. They're still probably bottom 10 to bottom 15 back half of the league, but they are much, much better than last year. So give Dan Quinn some credit there. But yeah, no, I mean, as a whole, I just feel like KOC, he really has these guys around him, supporting him. These players really believe in him, and, you know, it's just been really impressive what he's been able to done with a Vikings team that everybody completely wrote off this offseason. All right, and last one, comeback player of the year. So, you know, if it were still the old criteria, I would 100% go Sam Darnold. I don't really understand why they need to change the criteria for that. Like, you're telling me what Sam Darnold's doing right now isn't a comeback? He was completely written off by the entire league, was at one point the number 3 overall pick, had a massive fall from grace, never had any success, and now he's looking like an extremely proficient quarterback in the league that can perform to the standards that we at least need him to. How is that not a comeback? Make it make sense. But I don't understand why it has to be from injury, but in that case, it's Kirk Cousins. I mean, fuck Aaron Rodgers, you fucking old-ass, grumpy-ass motherfucker. It's Kirk Cousins. Give it to Big Kirko Chains. He deserves it. I'm a Vikings fan that will always love and respect Kirk Cousins. Fuck y'all who get mad at him for chasing the bag. That's the name of the business. And frankly, it was time for the Vikings to move on from Kirk anyways. So it worked out well for everyone. Vikings moved on. Kirk got his bag. Kirk is playing like fucking crazy. So give that comeback player of the year award to Kirko. But yeah, if awards were given out midway through the NFL season, these would be my picks. Let me know what you guys would do differently, and just any thoughts you may have overall. Like the video, leave a comment, click that sub button. Appreciate y'all as always. Have a beautiful night.